All right, y'all. So right now I'm watching Supergirl season 4, premiere episode 1, The American Alien. I know it says The American Alien. I forgot to put the word the. But anyway, so far in this episode, we saw in the very beginning of a newspaper headline saying Supergirl is saving everybody. It looks like, and it seems like Clark and Super and Kara are both, hitting double shifts, saving people. We saw Kara just flying all over the place. Up in Madrid, up in all over the place, man. She's just putting in work, as both Supergirl and as the damn reporter at CatCo. Not only that, but then also Kara now has her own apprentice, her own protege named Nia, and she's just like Kara when she first started at CatCo. Very upbeat, very nervous, very anxious, trying to make her great first impression. The funny thing is, Nia, just like Kara when she met Kat, met her up in the elevator, and she's like, "Oh my gosh," telling her about how like she's gonna be late for her interview with her mentor or whoever, her boss. And, they ended up chatting up, and Kara's just like, "Oh my gosh, you are me." Now Kara, she's talking to Nia about the story, kind of stories that she's been doing because she has a degree in from Georgetown, and she's like, "Well, wait, wouldn't you want something with more depth?" And Nia's just like, well, fashion isn't just, about the clothes you wear. It shows you what kind of person you are, things of that nature. And then also we learn that, James is going through, because the DA wants to, lock James up for his role as the Guardian, which James is actually taking in nice stride. Of course, Lena wants to help her man out. She said, look, man, I have some friends with the mayor office. Maybe I can give them a little leverage to dissuade the DA. And James stops her right there and says, "Look, baby, I love the fact that you're trying to help me, but everything's we got a plan. We don't need to. And you try so hard to stay out of your family's evil ways. I don't need you to do that. We got a plan set up already. For the DA, so we're good. Not only that, but then there's actually this family affair of bad people. Mercy and Otis Graves, who happen to have been former accomplices and henchman, if you will, of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor. And now the funny thing is, Lex's mother, they once worked for her mother as well, but now I guess the mother has a change of heart now, as she said. Her heart's grown many sizes while she's been in prison. And while, during the whole alien invasion last year when she was staying alive in her cell, you know, she's agreed to, drop the gems on the graves and give Supergirl some information. Now, mind you, this is the very first interaction between Lena and Supergirl ever since season 3, because it's always been a rocky start between the two of them. But then also we see Alex in her brand new position as the very director of DEO. She's training her future officers, and they're doing pretty well. But Alex is very frustrated with how Brainiac isn't giving her the heads up whenever certain things happen, very important things happen. And I think that's just in relation because he's so used to, being a part of the Legion. Even Alex said, "Look, this is not the Legion. This is the DEO. From now on, you don't leave this damn building on your own because Brainiac's been doing things on his own, doing his own thing. And she's just like, look, I need to rein this guy in. You need to start following my damn directions." So now we'll see what happens as this goes on. Okay. Also, there happens to be this doctor that John has been, pretty much just, been working with, almost like a bit of like a AA setting, where they talk about how, people from out of in different multiverses, they try to, I guess you could say, assimilate into the culture on here on Earth. And one of the doctors who created, who has an incredible expertise in, I believe, in physics, was attacked by the Graves twins for this EMP to start this destruction kind of warpath of some sort. And Mrs. Luther is what I'm gonna call her. She asked Supergirl a question. Okay, Supergirl was like, "Look, okay, I need you to give me the last known location of any cabinets, warehouse, or facility." And she goes, "Hmm, domestic or international?" Because there's a lot of cabinets areas to be swept, and we'll see what happens. Okay, in connection with Dr. Wells is getting attacked by the Graves twins. John, like at the very beginning, told Supergirl, "Listen, I believe this is a hate crime. These guys keep attacking us just because of who they are, and not to mention, I've completely forgot that John, ever since his father passed, said, look, he vowed to live a life of peace and help people on the front lines a different way, without getting physically into the fight. But ever since this has happened, I'm trying to think or at least throughout the season, this season, John's actually gonna go back into physically fighting on the front lines and not just being basically being a moral conscience, if you will, for people like this. And now if we get down to the nitty gritty of it, Supergirl feels like, ever since, the whole alien, assimilation act that was passed by the president in this world, everything's been simmer. Everything's been calm and collected. Of course there's gonna be a little bit of like a little crime here and there, but Supergirl, she's been loved all over the damn world, so she really doesn't see or feel as if you know this current explosion and act of crime is connected to the one that happened at Dr. Rose's lab. John, on the other hand, says otherwise, obviously, because he's had this kind of experience being the director of the DEO, and just knowing that whenever two things line up, whenever two things happen simultaneously, they have to. There's a possibility that they might just be connected, and Supergirl is obviously fighting that because obviously she feels like none of this actually is nothing to be worried about. These two crimes aren't connected. And even John said, look, your experiences don't fit this barometer because the only reason why people will kind of mess with you is because you present to them that you are human, now that you're alien, you know. And John's right. I have to agree with John because Supergirl, she has that luxury. Everyone else, all those other aliens, even with them being assimilated, which causes fear amongst the humans, they don't have that luxury of saying, hey, look, I'm alien, love me, like Supergirl does. So we'll see how this goes. Ouch. Okay, Kara. So John definitely hit Kara in the feels with saying, look, I'm just trying to give you a different perspective because Kara obviously felt a little offended by what John said. She feels like John is questioning her, I guess you could say her philosophy and her perspectives on being a superhero, her duties and disciplines on what it is to be a hero. And Kara said, look, very harshly said, look, John, John, look, you left the DEO, you stop being a hero. Leave saving this world, saving the city up to me. I'm like, well, damn. And not to mention just that, but just moments before the whole explosion happened at the bar, one, I'll call her Empath. Empath came up to John and said, look, everyone is afraid ever since what happened at Dr. Woe's lab. And we're forming some kind of alliance, a neighborhood alliance to keep everyone safe. Are you in? And that's when John explained to her, like, listen, I vowed a life of peace. I'm not trying to get in, the physical forefront anymore. I've been there too long. So we'll see what happens. I wonder if this is going to actually persuade John to actually, get back out there, as I said before. Oh my goodness, guys! So now we get a little bit more into this. Now things get a little bit more interesting with, Lena Luthor and her mother, Lex, and James' situation. I'll tackle the Luthor situation first because it's so damn lengthy. Okay, as we all know, um, Lena's mother blames Superman. She's still vengeful towards Superman for breaking up her family, but as Lena says to her mother, I don't really think of it that way. I look at it more as Bruno Mischiefs, not Bruno Mischiefs, but I'll call it Bruno M because I can't really pronounce his name like that right now. Bruno M. I blame him for pretty much breaking his family apart because Bruno actually ended up fucking Lex over by laundering money through Luthor Corps, which Lena did not know, had no knowledge of. And even so, even her mother was like, okay, well, maybe it's time for me to give you the ins and outs of how it really went down. And so now I'll actually give her more of an olive branch. I mean, not to mention the whole thing, because even her mother mentioned, well, you would come down here a lot more. And certainly, you can't just be the chess games that brings you here. Lena said, she was just really being honest. She said, "Look, I just want to rebuild some relationships with my family. That includes you and Lex, and that's how that whole thing came to bit." Lena's also nervous about the indictment against James, so she's most likely going to still have her hand in that somehow, influencing that somehow, and we'll see how that goes. Not to mention Kara's and Alex's little conversation about the fight that Kara and James got into at the bar because John feels like the attack of the bar and on Dr. Rose was a hate crime. And Kara just actually told Alex she hates his perspective right now. It's just so omnibus. And Alex said, well, honestly, John is not an alarmist. When he's telling you something, you should listen to it. Because as Kara says, and I quote, everything is it feels so much freer. It feels so much, better now. The diversity, the stimulation, all this stuff all this good stuff is happening. And Kara doesn't see that. And I love how they put little political and serious conversations in the dialogue of these shows to really drive a point of a home, to really drive, a point, on certain things and how they feel about it. Because on one hand, because I can agree on both sides really. At one point, I really loved and really enjoyed the fact that there was so much inclusion, but then I had to, realize that hey, I got to look at the other side too and realize hey, there's still a lot of shit going on. There's still going to be some people that are against, aliens, and them being here and assimilating, and living amongst them and integrating. So there's always going to be issues there. So we'll see how this plays out. All right, yeah, so a lot is going down, Kara caught one of the Greaves twins, Otis, he's in custody right now. Brainiac and Alex have finally decided, we gotta find our own rhythm, because, pretty much Alex is just putting more pressure on Brainiac to be more like Win, and even Brainiac said, look, man, I can't be Win, you know, I can only be me. You gotta accept that. And Alex probably understood that. So they're gonna try to work on their relationship to see how they can, compromise and coexist with each other. Kara and John, they realized they worked out their differences. Because when it came down to trying to catch the Graves twins, John, refused because he promised his father, he vowed to his father, that he would just live a life of peace and help people that way. Another thing as well, Lena worked her magic, with the DA. He said, look, I need you to pretty much subpoena the books that Bruno Mannheim, was pretty much money laundering the entire time and pretty much screwed over my brother Lex and my family. To her mother's dismay, as you saw. She literally knocked over the king's piece. Checkmate, because even the DA asked her, does your mom know you're playing her? She's like, no, not yet. But she, Lena did that to get James out the hook. He was no longer indicted on the charges of on the active role of being guardian throughout the metropolis. And however, the Shiesty DA did go on to say, listen, but if James Olsen decides to act on such actions, portraying the guardian, he will be arrested on sight. To which Lena did not see coming. So that was the one thing that she didn't see coming at all. Now, mind you, James was under the impression that that he got off that the DA got off his tail, just by the universe, praying to the universe that everything will work all right, and not knowing that his girlfriend Lena actually helped him out with that. But now I'm pretty sure the cat's out the bag now with that. And also, to see Kara actually betray herself as Cat 2.0 was actually kind of cool too. Telling her mentor Nia, get to work. It's okay to be afraid. There are times where I do stuff where I still get afraid, but you gotta acknowledge that fear and kick its ass afterwards and get back to work. So I look forward to seeing it on next week's episode. I think it's titled Fallout, if I'm not mistaken. But this has been your Bullshit Speaks though, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry for the long one. I'm sorry, I was recording sequence by sequence. I apologize for that, but I would guarantee you next week's episode will be a lot shorter. This has been your Bullshit Speaks though, man. I love you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I love you guys. God bless.